Hi, I'm Trevor Stevenson, and welcome to Your Story Will Be Different. This is a narrative play podcast where I tell you the story that came to be from playing a solo tabletop role-playing game. For this session, I'm playing Alone Among the Stars by TAKUMA OKADA. This is a tabletop role-playing game about exploring space and experiencing wondrous sights. It uses a standard 52-card deck and a 6-sided die, and I'm weaving a little bit of narrative into it, so with that, let's dive right in.
Good morning, Isaac. We are currently descending to the surface of planet Kilo 807,416. The atmosphere is 75.06% nitrogen, 24.94% oxygen, 0.98% argon. Gravity is 97% standard gravity. Current temperature at the landing site is 24 degrees centigrade. Humidity is 34%.
Day 1. The humming of the ship was like an old friend gently waking me from sleep. After the cryo-thaw, my senses recovered, and following a quick breakfast, I went through my mission orientation with my ship's AI, survey assistant, and research archiver, aka Sarah. The first survey site was half a day away on a planet no human had ever set foot on before. During lunch, I discovered several semicircular boulders floating in the air. They were about 10 feet up, and encircled with smaller boulders outside whatever gravity well kept them in place. The boulders themselves were laced with precious metals. One of the gold ones glimmered like molten sunlight, meanders like rivers of riches, tracing serpentine pathways through the stone. These precious ribbons, pure and lustrous, caught the light in such a way that they seemed to be perpetually ablaze, casting a warm, radiant glow upon their rocky hosts. The ones with silver in them looked like liquid mercury frozen in time. Its veins were sleek and sinuous, twisting and twining their way through the stone like gleaming serpents. The silver lends an air of otherworldly mystique to the boulders. Its metallic luster creates an aura that shimmered as if it were a materialization of moonlight, captured and encapsulated within the ancient rocks. Day 4. Using a walking meditation technique that my late wife taught me along the way, I took a break after hiking to the top of a mountain to get some rock samples for Sarah. The landscapes defied all earthly norms as I embarked on this arduous hike that wound its way up through a labyrinthian path, leading to the zenith of a colossal mountain. As I ascended, the air grew thinner and the vistas became increasingly surreal. Upon reaching the summit, I discovered a breathtaking spectacle. Massive trees, unlike anything I had ever encountered, stood along the mountaintop's edge. These arboreal giants, rooted deeply into the rugged side of the mountain, defied gravity itself. Their colossal trunks leaned out horizontally over the valley below, creating a mesmerizing canopy that cast the world far below into a perpetual twilight. The trees, with barks like burnished steel and leaves that shimmered with a warm glow, formed a living bridge that stretched out over the precipice. They seemed to drink the light and store it within their very essence, rendering the valley below in a perpetual dusky hue. Far above the cloud line, the trees stood like mystic sentinels between two worlds. Impossibly, they melted and absorbed the snow that fell upon them, as if the mountainside itself nurtured them with life-giving sustenance. The snow, instead of piling up, vanished into the very essence of the trees, feeding their incredible vitality and causing them to radiate an otherworldly luminescence. I found a place to rest among the colossal roots of these arboreal titans, their gnarled branches forming a natural perch with a view that defied both belief and imagination. As I settled in, I marveled at the transcendent beauty that surrounded me, the twilight valley, the impossible trees, and the quiet majesty of this alien mountaintop. It was a place where the boundaries between reality and dreams seemed to blur, and where the very essence of nature transcended the ordinary and ventured into the realm of the extraordinary. The air at this elevation was surprisingly thick, with no lightheadedness. It would have been pleasant if it wasn't for the cold air. Day 18. Sarah designated today as a mental health reprieve day. She said it's necessary for stress reduction, immune response, and productivity resetting. It's basically a day off. I took a picnic with me to a spot by a river that is shaded and quiet. Honestly, it's nice to have some time off to enjoy the world I'm on, especially that's the reason why I signed up in the first place. Well, one of the reasons. Before I could finish my lunch, amidst a dreamlike haze, a solitary figure came into view. A woman with flowing black hair that cascaded like a waterfall over her shoulders. Her eyes, as vivid as the deepest azure of the sky, shone with an unearthly intensity, even from a distance. It was her eyes that drew me in, an enchanting contrast to the wilderness that surrounded her. A sense of familiarity hung over my mind, but I couldn't place from where. I squinted, trying to make out her form as she stood there, a solitary figure amidst the tranquil beauty of nature. Her lips moved, forming words that seemed to hang in the air, yet the gentle breeze that danced among the riverbank carried them away before they could reach my ears. A sense of curiosity and intrigue enveloped me as I continued to approach her, the river's melody serving as a haunting backdrop to the beguiling encounter. With each step I took, she seemed to shimmer and waver, like a mirage teasing my senses. I quickened my pace, desperate to hear her words and to unravel the mystery that had drawn me to this spectral presence. But as I drew nearer, a sensation of disquiet washed over me, and before my eyes, she dissolved into the very air she occupied, like an illusion fading into the realm of the unreal. I stood there alone by the riverbank with the memory of her presence still lingering in my mind, a ghostly encounter that had left me wondering if she was a vision from the past, a spirit of the wilderness, or a fleeting trick played by an enigmatic force of nature. Day 25. Venturing through the dim landscape of the alien world, I found myself immersed in the cool embrace of a shaded wadi. Its rugged, rocky walls and the trinary suns made peculiar, disoriented shadows. The atmosphere was thick with an unassailable stillness, and the air held a strange metallic tang, unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. As I continued my explorations, my footfalls echoed softly in the quiet. I came upon something unexpected. Though in this line of work, everything is unexpected, which is then expected. In a small clearing, bathed in the muted, diffused light of the wadi, a colossal bird-like creature came into view. Resembling a magnificent fusion of a terrestrial peacock and an iridescent dream, it stood tall and regal. Its plumage an explosion of psychedelically vibrant colors. The bird's feathers were a mesmerizing display of alien pigments, each shade seemingly pulled from an artist's most surreal palette. Its body was a deep obsidian black, in stark contrast to the resplendent fan of tail feathers that fanned out from behind it. These feathers were an iridescent kaleidoscope of hues, changing with each subtle shift of the creature's body. Shimmering like opals, they shifted from a brilliant azure to a deep violet, and then fiery crimson to an emerald green. The colors flowed across the feathers like liquid light, creating a psychedelic spectacle that defied the imagination. The bird's eyes, large and deep-set, fixed upon me with a blend of curiosity and caution. We locked eyes for a moment, a profound connection forged between two beings from different worlds. My heart raced as I marveled at this majestic and bewildering creature, my senses overwhelmed by the kaleidoscope of colors dancing in its feathers. And then, as if acknowledging my presence, the bird let out a haunting, melodious call that resonated through the wadi. Its song seemed to blend harmoniously with the surreal beauty of this alien world, an echo of the wonders of this uncharted realm had to offer. I watched in awe as the giant bird slowly spread its radiant tail feathers, casting one last dazzling display of colors before taking flight with an ethereal grace. As it soared into the alien sky, its vibrant plumage transformed the atmosphere into a living, breathing masterpiece, a testament to the mesmerizing and incomprehensible beauty of this world. As I always do when it's time to leave one planet for the next, I watch the beautiful orb below me slowly disappear, and then Sarah asked me to name the planet.
Surveying and cartography has been completed. Please designate this planet for the archive.
I named this planet Tuminako, which is an Earth word for hope. Day 2. After an arduous and otherworldly trek on the alien planet, I finally reached the snowy peak of a towering mountain. The air was crisp and thin, and the landscape was a surreal blend of ice and rock, with the distant alien sun casting a pale, cold light across the horizon. At the mountain's summit, I came across massive crystal formations, unlike anything I had ever seen on Earth. These colossal crystalline structures jutted out of the frozen ground, their facets catching the pale sunlight and scattering it in a dazzling display of iridescent colors. The crystals were enormous, towering above me like spires of frozen fire. They seemed to be formed of an alien material, refracting the light in a way that created a spectral, ever-shifting dance of colors that painted the icy landscape in a surreal and dreamlike panorama. Approaching the crystals, I noticed that they pulsed with a subtle rhythmic energy. The very ground beneath my feet seemed to vibrate in resonance with their silent song. I cautiously reached out to touch one of the crystalline facets, and it felt cool to the touch, like a solidified whisper from another world. As I examined them more closely, I discovered that they were more than just geological marvels. They held intricate geometric patterns within them, like frozen fractals of some cosmic design. It was as if the very essence of the alien world had been captured and crystallized into these towering formations. This is weird, but I swear for the briefest second, I saw someone standing next to me, but when I turned, I reconfirmed that I was alone. The crystals seemed to resonate with the planet's unique energy, and the air around them was charged with a sense of mysticism and wonder. I wouldn't be surprised if Sarah's considering them for a fuel substitute or something. It was still an awe-inspiring experience to stand next to these colossal crystal formations, feeling the pulse of an alien world reverberating through them, and witness the surreal beauty of an environment where Earth's laws of nature held no dominion. Day 8. Sarah told me she needed flora and water samples from the ocean here. It took a week to get there over the mountain range. The ocean was located on the other side of a formidable mountain range, and I embarked on a challenging trek, fully equipped with the necessary tools and equipment. The mountains loomed like ancient guardians, their jagged peaks disappearing into the alien sky. The journey was arduous, the air thin and the terrain treacherous. As I ascended and descended, the ever-present mystery of this world intensified, each step bringing me closer to the uncharted depths of its ocean. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I reached the shore. The alien ocean stretched out before me, its waters deep, iridescent blue, unlike anything I'd ever seen. Sarah directed me via Dermalink to collect water samples and gather specimens on the native flora that lined the shore. As I dipped my collection devices into the alien ocean, I couldn't help but notice an intriguing phenomena. Beneath the surface, glowing weeds flourished in vibrant clusters. Their bioluminescent tendrils shimmered in the depths, casting an otherworldly radiance in the water. With a sense of awe, I ventured into the shallows and carefully collected some of these iridescent weeds, their radiant colors dancing like ghostly flames in my hands. Sarah identified them as a completely new and undocumented species, a fascinating discovery that held promise of unlocking secrets of bioluminescence on this alien world. Having gathered both the water samples and the glowing weeds, I made my way across the mountain range, the samples safely stowed away. The trek back to the ship was as challenging as the journey to the ocean, but I carried with me tangible proof of my exploration. Day 16. As I ventured deeper into the mountain cliffs, the terrain became increasingly inhospitable. Jagged rocks jutted out like ancient monoliths, and the sky above held a hue that seemed to shift between shades of indigo and lavender. As I turned a corner along the precipice, I encountered a sight that took my breath away. There, perched gracefully amidst the craggy outcrops, stood a wolf of majestic presence. Its fur was a striking contrast to the barren surroundings, a silver-gray coat that shimmered like moonlight. What really held my gaze were the wolf's eyes, brilliant blue. They gleamed with an intelligence that transcended mere instinct. They held a deep wisdom that seemed to speak of eons of existence on this alien world. The wolf regarded me with a steady, yet not unfriendly gaze. It seemed unafraid, as though it was the guardian of these remote heights. Its eyes, like sapphires in the twilight, seemed to hold the secrets of the mountain, the skies, and the very essence of this extraordinary world. Remember, I stood there, humbled by the presence of this magnificent creature, lost in the depths of its azure gaze. It was a chance encounter with the wild and the unknown, a moment of connection across the boundaries of worlds and species. The wolf and I shared a moment in that alien wilderness, two explorers in a vast, uncharted expanse of the cosmos, where mysteries awaited at every turn. Day 26. Still scaling the mountains with each step, the air grew thinner and the atmosphere grew stranger, as if I were venturing deeper into the heart of this world. As I turned a corner and ascended a steep incline, I found myself face to face with an astonishing sight. A mysterious obelisk jutting out from the cliff face. Its surface was smooth, dark, and marred by strange etchings that seemed to pulse with an indescribable energy. The obelisk appeared to have been intricately carved, and I could sense an aura of ancient power emanating from it. Parts of the face of the obelisk were crushed, clearly from a rockfall possibly eons ago. Driven by a powerful curiosity, I approached the obelisk and reached out to touch its surface. As my fingers contacted the alien material, a peculiar sensation washed over me. Whispers, soft and haunting, began to fill my mind. Their source unclear, but undeniably present. They were like echoes from the depths of a long-forgotten dream. After a disorienting moment, to my astonishment and disbelief, the whispers took a familiar voice. It was the voice of my late wife, a voice that I thought I would never hear again in this lifetime. Her gentle, comforting tone spoke to me from the depths of the obelisk. The whispers carried fragments of memories, stories, and the essence of her love and wisdom. They enveloped me in a surreal and poignant embrace, as if she had transcended the boundaries of time and space to reach out to me in this far-off corner of the cosmos. As I fought off the tears, I listened to the spectral voice, and I felt a profound mixture of joy and sorrow. It was as if, through the obelisk, I'd been granted a brief, supernatural reunion with her, and an experience that defied all reason and understanding. As the whispers continued, I stood there on that alien cliff face, a solitary traveler between worlds, immersed in a moment that transcended the confines of the universe itself. But soon the pages through my dermalink from Sarah for a mission update shook me from my stupor, and I started my descent. Day 28. Clearly there's something in the geology of this planet that has Sarah interested. I was sent to a steaming volcano. Rocks and boulders bore the marks of ancient eruptions, and the air was thick with a surreal mixture of warmth and the scent of exotic, sometimes nauseating minerals. Amid the rocky terrain, I stumbled upon an astonishing discovery. A second obelisk, gleaming with gold and silver, untouched by the volcano's fury. Its surface sparkled with intricate engravings and emitted an eerie, mesmerizing glow. The obelisk stood alone, an enigma beside the fiery maw of the volcano. Intrigued and apprehensive, I approached the obelisk and reached out to touch its radiant surface as I had with the other. As my hand made contact with the alien metal, a peculiar sensation washed over me. The whispers, faint and ghostly, began to infiltrate my thoughts, their source inexplicable yet profoundly present. The whispers seemed to coalesce into a voice, again, my wife. Her words, soft and comforting, resonated in my mind just as I remembered them from when she was alive. I don't know how or why, but this obelisk, fused with the whispers of my late wife, had become a conduit for a surreal, unworldly reunion. It was wonderful and painful at the same time. I thought those wounds had been scarred over after years of travel and light years of distance. Janet. I remember her now. It's been years since I could do that. How long have I been traveling? It's been years, decades, centuries. How have I forgotten her name? Why is it coming back to me now? Day 30. I asked Sarah to let me choose the last mission on this planet to stay away from the mountains of this world, as I can't bear to feel that again. Exploring the landscapes of an alien world, I wandered through a terrain that was both haunting and intriguing. The world around me bore little resemblance to Earth, with strange topography, vividly colored skies, and the flora defied imagination. As I continued my journey, I unexpectedly entered a field of colossal ferns, their towering fronds reaching heights far beyond my own. Each fern was a botanical giant, their lush and intricate foliage forming an expansive, undulating sea of green. These alien ferns possessed a curious beauty. The fronds were rich and emerald, seemingly glowing with an inner light, and they stretched into the sky like enormous fans. The intricacies of these leaves were mesmerizing, featuring patterns and textures that I'd never encountered before. Walking through these ferns felt like strolling through a prehistoric forest, where time had taken a different course. The scale of the ferns was humbling, and I marveled at the unique and unfamiliar life that flourished in this alien world. As I moved deeper into the field, I could hear the soft rustling of the fronds in the alien breeze, a soothing, almost hypnotic sound. The atmosphere was thick with a scent of greenery and life, a fragrance that seemed to belong to another realm entirely. Yet I still can't shake this melancholy I've been feeling for weeks.
Surveying and cartography has been completed. Please designate this planet for the archive.
Draugr. Ghost. Day 8. After a week spent surveying deserts, I embarked on an arduous expedition to survey a glacier that seems to stretch into eternity. The terrain was harsh, the air thin and biting, and the world around me was a tapestry of ice and rock, colored by the light of the alien sun. Another opportunity for breathing meditations. After a particularly grueling hike, I finally reached the glacier, its vast expanse shimmering with a pale iridescent blue, unlike any ice I had seen. As I began my survey, carefully taking measurements and samples, I noticed something astonishing above the ice. Floating flowers, haunting and surreal, hung in the air like living constellations. These flowers seemed to defy gravity, their vibrant petals adorned with the colors that surpassed the imagination. Each blossom emitted a soft, iridescent glow, casting an ethereal light upon the glacier beneath. The flowers seemed to exist in a state of perpetual suspension. Their scent was a delicate and intoxicating fragrance that filled the crisp mountain air, carrying with it a sense of serenity and wonder. I took in these botanical marvels, their presence a testament to the mysterious and captivating nature of this alien planet. As I approached the floating flowers with reverence, I reached out to touch one, and I felt the subtle brush of their petals against my fingertips. The flowers seemed to respond to my presence, their colors shifting and intensifying as if in greeting. This unexpected discovery filled me with a sense of awe and gratitude. Amidst the harsh, icy environment of the glacier, the floating flowers were like a living work of art. Their beauty, a reminder of the wonders that could be found even in the most extreme and unfamiliar corners of the universe. Day 20. Taking a break from my surveying duties on this alien world, I found myself perched on a ridge, gazing out over the surreal landscape that stretched before me. The world was a tapestry of colors, structures, and forms I could scarcely comprehend. As I sat there, I spotted a remarkable light that drew me in like a magnetic force. In the distance, a field of floating mushrooms captured my attention. These were no ordinary mushrooms, but rather oozing specimens that hovered in the air. their caps resembling a mix of gelatin and iridescent materials. They pulsed and undulated as if they were breathing, defying the laws of gravity while fading into and out of existence. The field of floating mushrooms seemed to sway in a breeze that I couldn't feel, giving the impression of a mesmerizing aerial dance. Their bioluminescent glow cast an eerie, ethereal light that illuminated the surrounding area. The colors shifted and swirled in a hypnotic display like a living work of art suspended in the alien sky. Curiosity got the better of me, and I approached the field of floating mushrooms, ensuring not to make contact. The alien landscape felt charged with an uncanny energy, and I could feel these mushrooms were something entirely beyond my comprehension. Day 26. After an arduous and grueling 6-day journey through the unforgiving terrain of this alien world, I finally reached the summit of a snowy mountain, a place of stark beauty and solitude. What awaited me there was beyond my wildest imagination. Amidst the pristine snow, I discovered a perfect obelisk. Adorned in resplendent gold, silver, and an array of dazzling gems. The obelisk emanated a soft, inviting glow, casting warm reflections on the snowy landscape. It stood as a towering cryptogram amidst the rugged isolation of the mountain's peaks. Driven by irresistible curiosity, I reached out and touched the radiant surface of the obelisk. As my fingers made contact with the alien material, my surroundings faded away, and I found myself standing in a place that transcended the boundaries of time and space. Before me, in the glow of the obelisk, stood Janet. Her presence luminous and comforting. Her now familiar azure eyes held the same warmth and love that I remembered, and a smile graced her lips as if she were the very embodiment of a cherished memory. For some reason, I can't remember exactly what she said right now. It was an empathetic expression straight out of a dream. She spoke to me with a voice that was both familiar and haunting. Her words conveyed a message of love, encouraging me to move forward with my life. She assured me that her love would always be a part of me, a guiding light in my journey through the unknown. Tears welled up in my eyes as I listened to her words, and I remember I was filled with a profound mixture of emotions: gratitude, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of closure. The obelisk had become a bridge between the realms of the living and the departed, a place where love and remembrance transcended limitations of existence. As I stood on that snowy mountaintop, face to face with the fading apparition of my late wife, I felt a deep sense of peace, relief, and renewal. The obelisk had offered a moment of profound connection, a reminder that love could endure even the most extraordinary and enigmatic corners of the universe.
Please designate this planet for the archive.
Kofio. Remembrance. One of the great things about this game is just how it opens up your imagination to a series of incredible vistas and locations to explore. And it's so bare bones that a lot of people have just taken the overlying game and kind of run with it in a specific direction. There's multiple interpretations of this game out there that are in different genres, whether it be horror or more fantasy type settings. And those are fantastic games themselves, but this is kind of like the granddaddy that spawned all those. I very much enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to everyone. It felt like it was a great opportunity for me to kind of expand my imagination, to create new worlds and new situations. And as you can clearly see from when you go through and play this game, the overriding story or underlying story of grief was kind of came to me while I was coming up with the story for this. And I also had just recently finished the first half of the Hyperion Cantos, and there's something about, time dilation and travel, something along those lines. I was like, what is the mental process of somebody who is traveling through space, and everyone they left behind is long gone? All of civilization essentially is long gone for them, and they're out there on their own, and they're not processing their emotions. So that was kind of the idea that came to me while I was playing this game, and raised some questions about a protagonist that was in this situation, that was discovering these worlds. And I thought it was a very cool idea that, again, was completely triggered by playing Alone Among the Stars. A big thank you to everyone that's been spreading word about this podcast and telling people that they know. That's the easiest way to get more people on board and let me know that they're actually enjoying the podcast. Our next session, we're going to be switching genres again. We'll be playing Sin Eater by Groovy Dad Games. It's more horror focused, so I'll definitely be putting some content warning in the description. I was recently a guest star over on the Two Filthy Casuals podcast, where we talked about the Highlander franchise, something I'm pretty passionate about. Hop on over there if you're not sick of my voice yet. Listener discretion is advised. Thank you again for listening to Your Story Will Be Different. As always, I'm going to put a link to the game in the show notes. I, of course, recommend you go out and play it yourself, and, let me know what different and alien worlds you get to explore in your playthrough. But remember, your story will be different.